All right, guys. So I figured it's easier if I read the story to you and then you do the following activities that go with this reading, okay? So this is our independent practice. We're going to read the story and then we're going to answer the questions that follow. Spinach Forever. General, it's a short story. Way to go, Klutz, Barrett snapped. Klutz means somebody that's very clumsy. It was his foot I had tripped over, but as usual, it was my fault. Barrett headed for the fence surrounding our backyard. Today I would prove I could catch a lizard just like him. Yeah, right, chicken, Barrett replied when I had announced this at breakfast. Then he had jumped up and danced around. Lizards, gizzards, cluck, cluck, cluck. By your armpits, yuck, yuck, yuck. Grow up, Barrett. I've read a lot about lizards, snakes, and frogs. Did you know you can put a lizard to sleep by stroking its belly? You put me to sleep, Barrett said. Mom told him, leave your sister alone and finish your eggs. I do not understand Barrett anymore. We used to play together all the time. Now, he treats me like canned spinach or some other gross thing. Mom says he is going through a stage and it's hard fitting in a middle school, but how does picking on me help? I caught up to Barrett as he crept along the fence. I started to say it was nice outside today, but he gave me a mean look that said, be quiet. Still, the sun fell good on my shoulders. No wonder lizards enjoy fences. They rest on the bumpy wood, letting the sun warm their bodies when they grow sleepy. Barrett shows up. My brother Barrett is a master lizard catcher. He hand zips out and he grabs them so fast they are still blinking, but he never harmed one. We circled the yard twice before we spotted a lizard. Its body was nearly as long as my palm. Its tail stretched about 5 inches. All right, moving on to the next page. His coloring protects him, Barrett whispered. Yes, that's amazing. Did you also know that some ants can explode and cover enemies with poison? Barrett rolled his eyes and replied, yeah, and skunks stink. Quit stalling, smarty pants. Go for it. I stood still, feeling drops of sweat on my back. The lizard did not move. Barrett was right. Its grayish-brown color made it nearly impossible to see. I was thinking how cool it was that animals can blend to protect themselves. Remember? What is that called? Camouflaging, right? I felt Barrett's eyes drilling into me, and I knew I would have to act fast. If I did not want to be treated like canned spinach the rest of my life. I counted under my breath. 1, 2, 3. Then I sprang forward and grabbed the lizard. But wait. Why was it not moving? Had I grabbed too hard? When I opened my hand to check, the lizard ran immediately. I grabbed him back with my left hand. My first lizard! I did it! I squealed, turning to show Barrett. I opened my hand more carefully this time and felt something tiny wiggling. The lizard's body remained in my hands, but a moment later its tail was on the ground. Both halves of it were still moving. Ew! I yelled. I had heard about how lizards would drop their tails if they were in danger and had to escape, but I have never seen it. Not one single lizard had ever lost its tail escaping from Barrett. Meanwhile, Barrett was racing back toward the house like a mouse running from a hawk, yelling even louder than I had. Thanks a lot, I yelled after him. I felt sorry for myself, but I felt even worse for the poor lizard. It had only a stump where its tail had been. Shouldn't it be bleeding? No, I couldn't see. Its wound was already healing itself. I heard the door slam. Barrett ran toward me with a bandage in his hands, yelling for me to pick up the tail and hold the lizard still. I pressed the tail back onto the lizard's body as my brother gently wrapped a bandage around the place where the two pieces met. There, Barrett said, pinching the bandage to make it stick. It made me feel better not seeing the damage I had done. Barrett grinned at me, and I grinned back. Silly, he said. You know his tail will grow back. Now he can look classy in the meantime. Then he placed the lizard on the fence. We watched it move away. I walked to the house thinking of different ways animals protect themselves. Some ants explode and shoot poison. Skunks spray stinky liquid. Lizards blend in or shed their tails. As for Big Brother, sometimes they act mean on the outside even if deep down they care about you. Barrett loves me, even though he shows it in his odd ways. I know he will not treat me like canned spinach forever. Alright guys, so after I read this for you, I hope it helps you answer the following questions. They are actually all on here, so you don't have to do anything in the book. Actually, all your answers are going to go here. So for instance, for part A, the question is, which statement best identifies the central message of the story?